Hi everybody, welcome to M.A.D-PI. Right, so if you've seen my last video, it's about fog, right? There's some naughty fog going over in the States. It's not like water or mist or damp or anything like that. You'll see, right? So I'm going to show you this, and then you let me know what you think. Please leave a comment up below. I think it's bonkers. I mean, people are walking around breathing this shit in. You know what I mean? Like, you should wear a mask, mate. I'm telling you. So if there's anyone out there that's actually from the States, be careful, my loves. You know, please. Right? Check this. Here we go.
Right. Welcome in, everyone. Today we're diving into something a little spooky, honestly. Mysterious fog. And I'm not talking about the kind that, just obscures the road a bit. We're talking like weird fog. Appearing all over, freaking people out.
It's really captured the public's attention, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we've got a ton of stuff to sift through today. X posts, the ones everyone's sharing, scientific articles, even some news reports trying to make sense of it all.
It's a real mix
Crazy,
of information
baby,
and
crazy.
speculation.
Exactly. So our mission, figure out what's really going on. Separate fact from the fog, I guess you could say.
I see what you did there.
We're going to be looking at, microscopic creatures. Some people are even talking about, advanced tech gone wrong. Is this just Mother Nature being weird, or is there something more sinister happening?
It's definitely got people talking. You see a post like that one from
Look at
was
it
it
moving.
XRP Off Preacher?
Bloody
Their dog's
hell.
water bowl full of gunk after a foggy night.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were just baffled. Clean bowl, fog rolls in. Suddenly it's like, what is this stuff? And then others were chiming in saying the fog had been, weirdly thick for days, longer than usual.
God, look at it all gathering together. Look, it's all collaborating together. See it all joining up.
24, yeah. Catchy name.
All
Maybe
getting
a little
together.
Over the
Look,
top.
A little bit.
ganging up.
But it shows how much this is freaking
Look
people
at it,
out.
look.
Especially with folks saying they're getting sick,
I don't know which
flu-ish
way to go.
symptoms, along with
Just-
this weird fog.
Right, so you've got the fog
at
itself,
you.
which is unusual enough, and then these added health concerns. It's definitely worth
fuck?
investigating.
Okay, but hold on a sec. Isn't fog like a normal weather thing?
Oh, for sure. Regular fog.
Okay.
Just water vapor, condensed,
Yeah.
totally natural.
That's really
but when you
pissed them
add in
lot
all
off.
this
I
other
just
stuff,
took
the
my-
residue,
It's when
the potential
gets
health
together.
effects, it's like, okay, there's something more
look
going
at
on
it. Look,
here.
that's
Right,
just
right.
nuts.
So let's get into it. Let's talk about that microscopic
see 'em
mystery. What did
individually
that
going
X
to-
user actually find under their microscope? Because that's what really got everyone's attention.
Well, that's the thing. It was kind of hard to tell from the images they posted, but based on
You're
what they
breathing this shit
described
in.
and all the debate online, it boiled down to
That's
two
not good,
main
man.
suspects.
That's not good.
You've got Ascaris parasites and then springtails.
Ascaris, wait, those are those parasitic worms, right?
Yep, exactly. They usually infect intestines,
Was that
but
venom
some
that might
types
be
they
called a
can actually
parasite,
become
did he?
airborne,
There you go.
especially in places where
There you go.
sanitation isn't great.
Oh, great. So people are worried about microscopic worms floating around in the fog.
It's a valid concern, especially when you consider the potential health risks. But to be fair, not everyone agreed on the identifications. Some folks thought it might be springtails instead.
Screen what helps?
If you saw my last video about the fog, you'll see it on some of the video clips. Their clips of it coming past the light. You can see how thick it is and how dense it is, and now it doesn't look like water. You know what I mean? It's not water or mist or that sort of stuff like a snowy look. It's not. It's nothing. It's this. It's this. Bloody horrible. Bloody horrible.
Springtail.
Yeah, springtails are these tiny, harmless critters. You find them in soil mostly. They like it damp, so it makes sense they'd be, more active after a fog.
Go out. Wear a mask.
But they're not parasites. They don't cause any
if you need
problems
to go
for
out.
humans.
Okay, so
Sod
not
that.
quite as scary as the worm situation.
Yeah.
But how do you even tell these little guys apart? They're microscopic, right?
Right. You need some expertise to ID them properly, even with a good microscope. And honestly, everyone on X had their own opinion, so it just added to the confusion.
That's
Conflicting
crazy.
opinions, uncertainty. Yeah, just another day on the internet.
That's crazy.
But let's talk about those potential health impacts. Let's say someone did breathe in some of these critters. What are we talking about here?
All right, well, let's start with the one that's more concerning, the Ascaris. If you inhale those eggs, the larvae can actually hatch in your lungs, then they travel through your blood, and eventually end up in your intestines, and that's when you get the infection.
Fucking
Okay.
hell,
Okay,
John.
fast.
What
It's
the
not pretty.
bloody
But what
hell,
about the
mate?
springtails?
Easy.
If you inhale them, not much, really.
You're
They're
breathing this
harmless.
shit in.
Might get a little irritation, but that's
Wow.
not it.
Right, so Ascaris is the one to watch out
Wow.
for.
Exactly. And especially in areas where, like I said, sanitation's poor, those infections are more common already.
So how do these microscopic critters even get
You
into our
would-
bodies?
Most likely. You breathe them in. If they're in the
You
fog,
would
every
have
breath
thought,
you take,
like, you know,
you're potentially getting a dose of whatever's floating around.
this
Can
would
they,
be on
like,
the news to wear
burrow
a
into your
mask.
skin or anything?
Nah, that's not really a thing with these guys. They
Okay.
can't penetrate human skin. They're not built for that.
Okay, that's one less thing to worry
No,
about.
but
I
going
guess.
in your mouth.
Still,
and
the
stuff.
whole inhaling microscopic parasites
Yeah.
thing is enough to make anyone want to wear a mask.
I hear you. But that's why understanding the science behind all this is important. It helps you make informed decisions about protecting yourself.
Bloody
Speaking
hell.
of protection, let's talk about those conspiracy theories that have been popping up. Specifically, all the talk about smart dust and this fog.
Ah, yes. The
Eh?
smart dust theory.
Oh.
It's a popular one, for sure.
First
But like
I've
with
heard about
everything,
it.
it's important to be a little skeptical.
For those of us who haven't gone down that particular internet rabbit hole, what exactly is smart dust?
So, smart dust. It's basically these tiny, tiny sensors, almost invisible, really. They collect data about their surroundings and transmit it. Originally, they were developed for the military.
So we've got microscopic sensors just floating around. That sounds like something out of a
Jesus
sci-fi movie.
Christ,
The
man.
technology is real, that's for sure. But the way some folks are talking about it being used with this fog, it's not only really hard to do, it's also super ethically questionable.
What do you mean? What are these theories claiming?
Well, some folks are saying this
What
fog,
do you mean?
it's being used to spread the smart dust.
Yeah, but what do you
or mass
actually
surveillance,
mean?
or even to like make people sick. They say these sensors are tracking our movements.
So
or
I shouldn't be
releasing
laughing. It's
something
not. It's quite a
harmful
serious
into the
thing,
air.
isn't it? Really.
Now that's getting into serious conspiracy territory.
Yeah.
But is
But I
there
mean, that
actually
looks a
any
bit
evidence to
fucking
back this
sick.
up?
doesn't
That's the key thing.
be
There's
fair.
no scientific
You don't wanna
evidence
be
to
breathing
support
that
any
shit
of
in.
this. The technology might
You really
exist,
don't.
but to use it like that without anyone's consent, it'd be a huge violation, ethically and legally.
So it's a big leap.
Yeah,
Just because smart dust exists doesn't mean it's behind this whole fog.
Each
thing.
time they
Exactly.
get
we got to
become a big
separate
thing,
speculation
she
from
bloody
facts.
splits them up.
Smart dust could be used for bad stuff, sure, but we need proof, not just scary stories.
All right, so let's put that aside for now and move on to another detail that's been cropping up.
Yeah, come on.
What's
let's go.
with the reports of a chemical smell along with this fog?
Yeah, that's a strange one. A lot of the reports mention
Oh,
a
yeah.
chlorine-like smell,
Yeah.
which definitely sets
Yeah.
off some alarm bells.
Fluorine.
on my previous video again? There's a guy on there outside his house. He's obviously it's foggy. You can't see the end of his driveway. His driveway is only like 30 yards long or something, so you can you can tell how dense it is. And if it's like that, he's just stood there on his doorstep. So I mean, imagine all this shit you're breathing in. That's not good. I bet all these people will get really ill. But yeah, it's not good. It really ain't good. He was saying it stinks. Hence what they was just saying. There's a funny smell. So, I mean, I don't know. But just be safe, yeah?
Like swimming pool chlorine. What could even cause that?
Well, there are a few possibilities. Could be industrial pollution, factories, power plants, that kind of thing, releasing gases into the air.
So you've got those chemicals, they get trapped in the fog, and boom, that's where that smell comes from.
Could be. Another possibility is pesticide fogging. They use that for pest control. But the timing and how widespread this fog is, it makes that less likely.
Yeah, you'd think people would notice if there was that much pesticide spraying going on.
Right. But they often do it at night.
You're not
or
going to
early
have it
morning,
that's
when
going to
most
be
folks are
covering
asleep.
different
Sneaky.
places all
So
over the world.
industrial pollution,
There's
pesticide
fogs everywhere.
fogging, anything else it could be.
The weather itself might play a role. You get those temperature inversions where warm air traps colder air near the ground that can trap pollutants too, create that chemical smell.
So it's like the fog is a lid holding all the bad stuff down low.
Exactly. And then there's always the chance of a chemical leak, but that's less likely just because of how widespread this fog is.
Leaks from where though? Like what kind of leaks are we talking about?
Could be industrial facilities, transportation accidents, all kinds of things. But again, with the fog being so widespread, it doesn't quite fit.
All right, so we've got a bunch of maybes, but no definite answers. Sounds like figuring out this chemical smell is going to take some serious detective work.
It does. We need more data to say for sure what's causing it. Air quality monitoring, more research, that's what's needed.
All right, so we've covered a lot here. The fog itself, those microscopic creatures, the smart dust conspiracy theories, and now this chemical smell. It's a lot to process, honestly.
There
It
you
is,
go.
and it's easy to get caught up in all of the speculation and worry.
Exactly. So for folks out there, looking at this fog rolling in, what should they actually be doing? Like, how
Wear
do we
masks
deal
if
with
you
all
need
this
to go out.
uncertainty and those potential health risks we talked about?
That's the $1,000,000 question, and it's a good one. And that's what we're going to dive into after the break, so stay tuned. We'll talk about practical tips, things you can actually do to protect yourself while we try to get to the bottom of all this.
So, there you go. You know, in my last video again, I know I keep going about it, but in my last video about the fog, there's a lady in her house. She's got this in this bird's house. She's got a filter, like air filter, and it's black. You know, the one that's the new. You can see the difference from the, you know, and it's because of the fog. She had it wherever she had it. It's obviously filtered this thing, and so you know, that stuff probably more than likely is the stuff in this bird's filter. So, you know, if you do live in the States and you can see the fog, yeah. If you have to go outside, just put a mask on. Yeah, put a mask on. A pair of bloody eye protection as well, by the looks of things. You don't want them in. You just don't want it on your deer. It's disgusting. So whatever you do, right, just be safe, okay? And yeah, just take care of each other. All right, love you loads, right? God bless.